I was born and raised in a Christian home. My mom was a believer, and my dad was a workaholic and an addict, which in turn led to them getting divorced when I was in high school. I knew who God was at the time, but instead of running to God, I chased after fun and boys. And I met a guy when I was 17. We got serious pretty quick. I was in love. I saw some signs. There was things that came up along the way. I caught him looking at porn and he blamed it on his brother. I saw him talking with girls. We even broke up one time, but I continued to look for the best in him and just continued on in that relationship. I think because I was just in this cloud of he loved me, he chose me, he hadn't committed to people before, and he seemed to really want to be with me. So I just continued on, and after about 6 years, he proposed, and to me, it was what I had wanted. I was waiting for this. I think even my mom and my siblings were like, "Are you sure? Maybe you should wait," because I had shared some of the signs with them, and I was in love, and it's what I wanted to do. So we got married when I think I was about 23 years old, and we had kids quickly, and actually we started going to church once I had kids. God kind of got a hold of my heart and brought me back to him. I think I was thinking about raising them and who I wanted them to be. Slowly got involved in small groups and foster care. From the outside, we looked like we had a really good Christian marriage. However, on the inside, the porn stuff continued. I caught him one time, like I came home from taking my kids on a family vacation, and I was just looking through photos on the computer instead of on my phone, and I found an inappropriate picture of him, and I remember confronting him and him being like, "I sent that to you," and me thinking, "Why would you send that to me?" But just kind of putting it on the side. I even found one time back and forth emails between him and a coworker that were pretty much like a scene from a porn movie, and it breaking my heart, but just not even wanting to tell anybody because I was ashamed and I thought it was me. Maybe I wasn't pretty enough. Maybe I wasn't a good enough wife. I even thought maybe if I step up my sex game, he won't do these kind of things anymore. So I kind of just kept him. I think I made him sleep on the couch for a night or two, and we went to counseling once, but just let it sweep over. Around 2011, he came to me, which seemed like out of the blue to me. Things had been going great at that point. We had foster kids, and I think with foster care, I was looking to God because I had to trust in God because I didn't understand so many other things. So really at the time, I felt like my faith was getting stronger, and all of a sudden he came to me and told me he wasn't sure if he wanted a wife. And as we went and sought counsel from our pastor at the time, he said, the pastor was like, "Well, what would you want in a wife?" And he's like, "Well, was what I would want in a wife. I just don't know if I want one." About a year later, I caught him again through email form. I was looking for a birthday thing, so I went to a different email and then found a recovery email and found out he was in actually a full-blown affair. You could tell. And when I confronted him, he admitted it. And at that point, I couldn't keep it inside. I called my sister. I called my church. They all were praying for me and walked alongside. He left, but at the same time, I still was just like, thought God would want to fix my marriage for my kids. I thought it was better if we were just together, and worked through things. And like we know with him, all things are possible. So I think that was kind of my jam. I'm just going to walk through this and he can do it. I just need to submit to him and keep focusing on him. So it's what I did. But in that process, we came home took my kids. He didn't want to go. He was going to do solitude. So I took my 3 kids to Disney World and I came home, and that night he told me he was leaving for good. So on my daughter's 2nd birthday, he left. At the time, I was super confused on her birthday of all days, even with God. I was probably angry, like of all the days, of all the times. I just didn't get it. I didn't understand, but I had a huge, huge community of believers that supported me. I really just started focusing truly on Jesus. I removed so much from the world and just truly surrendered my life to him and was like, "God, I know that you have this. You can reconcile after. I know that you've got this, God." And it wasn't always easy, but he was always there. And I had a crazy amount of peace in that season, and I just continued to grow closer to God. I was single for about 6 years, and then I met my husband now through a mutual friend, and I remember the first night we talked on the phone, he prayed for me, and I was like, he lives in Boston, so it's kind of crazy, but I was like, okay, maybe it's worth giving this guy a shot. And sure enough, we grew a friendship with Jesus in the center, and we got married last November. And it was what I prayed for the 6 years. I prayed for a protector, someone that would take care of my heart, someone that would raise my kids to know Jesus, someone that would walk through all of life with me, pointing us to Jesus and walking with Jesus. I look at all the hard things of my life, from the addiction of my dad and from divorce and just all the things that were the most challenging to me. Even being single, there was times of it. Being a single mom with 3 kids, there were some challenging times, but those are my sweetest spots now for ministry. Those are the areas where I feel like I'm really able to give back to him at a different level because I can relate. He's grown my compassion. So I think it's cool to know that even now when I'm in a tough season, I can look at it and be like, okay, later on, he's going to take this and he's going to use it. It's not me that's going to use it, but he's going to use what he did in me to bring him good. So